Hi, Daniel. How are you? Happy New Year, of course. It's a pleasure to get to read for you again. I apologize for the delay. The season has been naturally very crazy for me this year, and I have to confess, I have never been more happy for Christmas and New Year's to be over, more so than ever before. So you requested a first operation of the opening of the key, and you are a Virgo, as I checked from our previous correspondences. And so I used the Knight of Discs for you, for your significator, and I already shuffled, already cut, and already cut into the four piles. So I will be very honest with you. Your cards are a little depressing to start. It seems to me that uh, you're going through a difficult period. It does not seem that you have a whole lot of confidence in your abilities at the moment, and part of this may be because you just are lacking tremendously in happiness. Uh, Possibly there are some financial concerns here that are depressing you, but in general, there's just a dryness about your emotional life that is not good, and that is reflected twice here in the fact that your water pile is dominated by the Five of Discs, and your air pile is dominated by the Five of Cups. Those are two very dry fives, particularly the Five of Cups here. And you, not only are you, I think, depressed here, but you're also stressed about the fact that you're depressed, and that you are uh, concerned about what just disappointments in your life at the moment. Either something didn't quite go the way you had thought, and this is what's really at the heart of your concerns at the moment. But either way, I think you're also feeling really exhausted by the whole thing. And I think that you are starting to feel physically drained by the weight of your emotional situation right now. And again, it all seems to stem back to this feeling of futility and lack of confidence in this whole thing. Excuse me. So I'm going to guess you're in here to start, and you are. So, hey, not too shabby. So we'll put these other piles away as they're obsolete. And I am using my smaller tot so that we can hopefully see as many of these as possible. I haven't been reading for people lately, as you can tell perhaps from my YouTube page. So it's good to know I still got it, sort of. At least we hope. We'll see. It's not over yet, huh? Okay. So your significator is here, the Knight of Discs, and yeah, you are surrounded by conflict and emotional frustration, though these are not exactly. The funny thing is that to say that this seems to be the brunt of your issue, they are not particularly strong, and they do technically cancel each other out. But there is perhaps some back stuff in which you are just. I think it's just safe to say that you are frustrated. Um, However, at the same time, this of course contradicts what I was saying before. You do come to the sun right away, and surrounding that you have the Fool and the Seven of Discs. And I think that despite having made some mistakes, you, for the most part, have managed to come through those mistakes up till now fairly successfully. You've managed to get through them, and still been able to look at them optimistically. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I get the sense that you're trying to, or have been trying to, cool down in some respect. I almost see you either as realizing that you're getting a hot head, or just that some of your ambitions are not necessarily possible at the moment. And I think you're kind of taking a break from them and trying to reevaluate the situation. 2, 3, 4. And that reevaluation, I think, is going well for you, and is a good thing. I think you're trying particularly to reevaluate whatever conflict it is that you are concerned about, because there is some sort of conflict here represented by the Five of Wands, and there seems to be some aspect of it that is possibly financial because of the influence of the Nine of Discs on the side of the Aeon. So whatever it is that you are reevaluating and trying to move beyond, whatever chapter it is you're trying to open anew, uh, does have to do, I think, with some sort of financial thing. And I get that again, just because the devil is next to that, even as well. I believe anyway. I would say that it's a financial thing, and if not, then the alternative is, of course, some sort of sexual thing. And the string actually ends very quickly and ends with that. So I think that, just to re-summarize the string, even though it's short, I think it's saying that at the moment, this actually is perhaps not as bleak as it had first seemed. Your cover cards were very dark and heavy, but I think for the most part, it's saying that you've been able to, again, get through them okay, and remain optimistic about your situation. I do think that you are at the moment able to look back on these mistakes that you've made and see them as a learning process. And I think also that some of your frustration is fueling your desire for change and your desire to perhaps better yourself to some extent, and to just do better, to have a higher output, to have a better level of productivity. I think that's what the Nine of Discs is really saying, because I do think that you have to some, I think you do have big financial ambitions, and I think you do have big career ambitions, and I think that those are still a part of your overall goals. I do think that you're not entirely losing that aspect of yourself just because you've had a few bumps in the road. But I do think at the same time that you are kind of trying to take a break, either that or you are going about it with a little more patience and perhaps doing it a little more slowly. Or you're just like taking some kind of pause, a vacation of sorts from it. Um, which I think is good for you, because I think that that time is allowing you to reflect on things and to recharge yourself, to start something, excuse me, to start something new. Um, so yeah, this is actually better than I had anticipated. So that is the end of the string again. The Aeon does count back to the Knight of Discs. So that's all it wants to say about the general situation. Now, the nitty gritty of things is what we're going to get at with the pairing. And with the pairing, always go back and forth whether or not we should pair from the ends or pair from the significator. Today, I think I'm feeling that I should pair from your significator for whatever reason. So we're going to do that. Again, the Five of Wands and the Five of Cups do cancel each other out, and so that does tell me that their influence over you is not as strong as perhaps it once was, which is great. Next, we have the Aeon and the Fool. And I do think that you are trying very hard to get a fresh start and a fresh perspective from all of this, and use whatever disappointments that you have had to suffer through to grow, and to learn something new about yourself and your situation. I do see success recently. You do have the nine of discs with the sun, and that does tell me that you have managed to be successful, whether you have felt that way or not. Um, and I do think that you've been able to surmount whatever uh, insecurities and confidence issues you may have had, as was represented in that first pile in your yod pile. Your yod pile was dominated by the seven of swords, which is of course futility. Following the nine and the sun, so after whatever success you've had, uh, you fall into the devil and the seven of discs. It's almost like you got cocky or something, and you overstepped your bounds, and that got you in trouble. I think that from there you sort of had to walk away from it, and I don't think it was necessarily. Uh, it was perhaps not by choice or either. Um, because your next pair is the Prince of Discs and the Four of the Four of Swords, and so I do see this as needing to kind of take a break from work, either that or, as I said before, take a step back from things, and not be so quite so ambitious just yet. I think that with your next pair of art and the Knight of Wands, I think you're trying to find ways to take your creative energy, which is naturally ambitious, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think you're trying to retool it and and trying to make it work better with the situation as it actually exists. And this is something that I relate to myself with my own career lately as well. And so I sympathize tremendously here. Um, Following that pair, you do get the Four of Cups and the Nine of Cups, which tells me that overall, I think as you are coming to discover how to do that, how to negotiate and be more political about what it is you want to achieve and what the situation actually calls for, I think that you are starting to find greater happiness in doing that. But there are still some aspects of it that you're not entirely crazy about. But I think that, that's just how a job goes. That's how careers go, especially in their beginning stages. Um, which is what I sense for you. But I'm not sure. Again, I don't remember how old you are, or if I ever found that out. But anywho, uh, either way, I do think that for the most part you are content, and your overall outcome card, I guess you could say, is the Priestess number two, and so I think that the Priestess leaves us on a positive note, that not only does she represent sort of divine benevolence shining through the situation in the end, and sort of a trust. I always associate the priestess with the virtue of faith and trust. And I think that you know intuitively that this is all going to work out, and that you know the direction you need to go in. I think that you know in your heart the path that is before you. You just need to hang on to it. Um, and perhaps, some of that business with the Nine of Wands, as we were talking about before in your Earth pile, some of the exhaustion, the physical exhaustion of this has to do with this. I think that perhaps you had hoped that your ambitions would be realized a little sooner than they have been, but they haven't. And I think that what this is trying to say to you is that just because they haven't, it's not necessarily a bad thing, and that whatever difficulties and trials you've had to go through in this process of realizing yourself, you have grown more as a person, and you will continue to do so, and that this is going to help you become stronger and more equipped for whatever doors are going to want to open for you in the future. So I hope that makes sense, and that all makes sense in relationship to your life, and that it is clear. That's about all it's got for you. So I hope that that makes sense again, and I hope that it's helpful for you to kind of put things in perspective. If it is not accurate, if it makes no sense, or if you are unhappy with it, I'm happy to try again, or to do something different for you, or to give you your money back, as always. And but either way, I hope it was helpful. And thank you so much for your patience. I always appreciate it. And thank you for your business again. And it's always a pleasure reading for you. And once again, Happy New Year, and stay well. And best of luck to you with all this. I think that this is good stuff for you, and I'm not too worried. I was worried when I first drew out the piles, but I think this is good, and I think you know that it's good too, which is important, you know. And if not now, then soon enough, I think you will come to that realization. So, all right. If you have any questions, do let me know. And once again, I hope this helped. All right. Thank you again. Bye.